Flex Zone Podcast, episode 381. The number one show getting it done. Only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. Sports and Blackness series continues with another illustrious guest. We recap the weekend that was NBA All-Star, talk about the new Ravens offensive coordinator and the new Commanders offensive coordinator as well. Latest moves in the buyout market in the NBA, and so much more. You guys know the drill. If you're in the chat, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell. Only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. Flex Zone Podcast. New episode coming to you live. It's the Flex Zone Podcast, only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. Episode 381 on February 20th, 2023, as we continue our sports and blackness series here on the only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. Trying to get the prompts to get you guys to subscribe. It disappeared, but I'll get it back up shortly. No worries. God's favorite host here. Back in the man cave, episode 381, getting it done. NBA All-Star Weekend, talking Ravens, talking Commanders, and so much more. Can't do the show alone. Got to start off with the social media producer, the man who makes the show go. Big Raj, or this week he's going by Raj the Conqueror. Conquering things, brother?
Man, I want to conquer that goddamn All-Star game yesterday, man.
Nah, leave it alone.
But we're going to get to it, though. We're going to get to it. This is your boy, Uncle Raj, in the building. You know, we got a special guest. I can't wait to talk to him about finances and some other things. But yes, I'm here. And I got a bone to pick with you, Dre. But that's a whole nother thing.
Yes, make sure y'all slam dunk that subscribe button, back down that like button, and break the bells, ankles, and vote on the poll. Let us know your thoughts on the Todd, Monken hire. This next man, he is the Commanderlorian. We salute him, and he's got to be happy. He's got a new OC, and it's Mr. Eric Bieniniemy in the place to be. Crevonte, baby.
Hey, man, it's crazy because all along, this was the guy. This was Ron Rivera's guy. So it's like, as soon as we interviewed him, it wasn't even an interview. It was just like, all right, so how much you want? type of thing. Because, like, we interview guys, and for those of y'all that haven't seen it, check out my Commander's checklist with me and Byron of guys who I pretty much knew they were going to interview, but really had no chance at it. So once EB came down, I was like, yeah, he's gonna get signed. So I am happy moving forward. We still have a lot of work to do because it's a nice little drop off from the Chiefs to the Commanders, ain't it?
Hey, Matthew, we'll be watching to see what happens with your Raiders. You might get Aaron Rodgers, as he's on his darkness retreat, so he has no contact with the outside world right now. He's just
how long? What are you only gonna do for a couple days?
It's for 4 days. I think he started it this weekend.
He's Phil Jackson now. So
I think he's like halfway through it right now.
I'm let him be Phil Jackson for a minute.
Man, you can't touch Aaron Rodgers at this point.
That man of 1,000 nicknames is here. The dean of Boston Hall University, Lamar's agent. Start your day with a cup of Dre, the phenomenal one, the A-lister, the man more phenomenal than AJ Styles, Prodigy, East Side Savior, Misbehavior, the super producer. Jersey Dre, what's going on, brother? The Flex on the side.
What's going on, America? Raj always got a bone to pick with me, man. Every week. This is the Flex on. This is what we do, man.
Big shout out to Miss Queen. Talked to her earlier. Much love. And episode 381. You guys know what we're doing. We got another illustrious guest in the building. You can catch this brother dropping those financial gems on YouTube, on the Money Etiquette Group LLC YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. We'll put that up in a second. His name is Joe Lorick. Just like you, Miss Queen, a City College graduate. So got some City Forever people in the chat. Mr. Joe, when you come on here, it's all love. WEAA contributor. I mean, like I said, he's going to get your money right and keep your honey on your right side beside you. This man, he's here to talk Baltimore sports, finances, and everything for the first time. Hopefully not the last. Dre calls him Unc. Let's bring in Uncle Joseph Lorick to the Flex Zone podcast. What's going on?
Hey man, I'm good. I can't complain, brother. Just trying to get out here, money, talk sports, see what's going on with y'all. What's up with y'all, man?
Hey, happy to have you. Another illustrious guest. We got to get straight into it. For the people who don't know who you are, anything we may have missed in the intro, let them know. And how can they keep up with you? To YouTube, I know you're dropping gems on there, and just a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. I'll make it quick. Joe Lorick from Baltimore City native. Would like to say a Baltimore City High School graduate, HBCU, Bowie State University college graduate in marketing and business. Worked in banking for about 12 years in consumer banking and credit management. So if you was calling to try to get a loan, I was one of those people that was making the decisions before the machines. After that, wrote a couple books to help people so they could get approved with credit. Been advising people on their finances for the last 15 to 16 years, helping people to get past the barriers that I learned about while working in banking, because oftentimes we're not given enough information. I'm every Wednesday, I do Wealthy Wednesday, 9:20 a.m. on WEAA, where we talk about all types where we can build wealth together, especially Black people. I'm a person that is pro-Black without a doubt, but I love all people, but always about the progression of my people. I'm a Ravens fan. I'm a local guy. I'm a Michael Jordan guy, but I also am a LeBron guy at the same time, which is kind of impossible. We could talk about that another time. Also a person that played a little ball, played a little football, and was involved a lot in swimming. So I love sports, love money, and I'm ready to talk. So let's go, fellas.
My man.
Well, I mean, Dre, I know you want to hit him first with the Ravens question. Go ahead. I know you want to badly.
All right. Well, since like you said, you're a Ravens guy, do you think that the Baltimore Ravens should pay Lamar Jackson, or do you think that they should move on to another quarterback?
There's no doubt that they should pay him, but it's about how you go about paying him. A lot of people, I think, don't understand how much money has to be put aside when you guarantee $200+ dollars. The Ravens organization brings in about roughly 127 million a year after bills are paid, their operating income. So when you have to put aside 200 million, just because, of course, if it's more than 15 million, the CBA regulates that you have to put everything, to the side, and you have to have that guarantee. It's not easy to come up with. So I think it's going to take time. Don't get me wrong. I think this is more about finances than it's about skill. And not to mention other things like jersey sales, which the team doesn't make as much money as you would think. How much you make off of Lamar sales versus this. It's a lot of different things that goes into getting Lamar that money. I think they'll do it. I think they'll make adjustments to make it happen. And I think they should, but these things take time. It's just not a small amount of money we're talking about.
All right. Well, my follow-up to that is because you mentioned like jersey sales and the contributing numbers. When you talk about a quarterback the caliber of Lamar Jackson, we think about somebody that's blockbuster, a must-see superstar within the league. So is he worthy of that type of money, being the type of draw that he is, not only for the Baltimore Ravens, but also for the NFL?
He's worthy, but he needs better representation. All right, Lamar Jackson should not. This is a former MVP. Highlights. Some people talk about the way he articulates and he speaks. I'm like, look, Lamar Jackson highlights can go up and he could just say speed and spell something. He doesn't have to give a long speech like somebody else. Why he doesn't have endorsements are the real question beyond Ravens. What's going on with decision making and representation? And why aren't we seeing Lamar making money outside of football after being an MVP, having the season he had, put up the highlights that he has? He did just as many highlights as Vic, but didn't get the endorsements like Vic. So I think the issues when it comes to Lamar Jackson, it's not about can he be sold, it's why is he being sold the way he's being sold right now? And that's not a Ravens issue, that's a bigger issue. So of course, I don't know the inner workings about his team. I do know that he's somewhat like self-represented. He got his mother and different people representing him, but something's going on because it's a bigger than a Ravens issue when you look at why Lamar isn't a bigger star when it comes to marketing than he is. That's not a Ravens issue. That's a Lamar issue.
So with that said, do you think that that he stays in Baltimore? Because right now on his Instagram, he is really trolling the fans. I mean, 1 minute he's wearing his chain.
Yep, and you're falling for it, Raj. And you're falling for it every day, getting upset, getting pissed.
I'm not getting pissed, but he got his briefcase with him. He's with a bunch of kids. He's dancing with Kodak Black. I mean, he's doing all kinds of things on Instagram right now. He's pretty much just trolling everybody. So what are your thoughts? Do you think he stays here, or do you think he might just bounce somewhere else?
Well, he can't bounce because at the end of the day, he's going to play. Okay, even if they franchise him, he's going to play. He might hold out for the rest of camp and come late, but Lamar Jackson loves football. He's going to play football even under a franchise tag, fair or not. And that gives them more time to negotiate a deal. It's not really up to Lamar if he stays as a team. And I don't see any quarterback on the market that the Ravens are going to trade for to replace Lamar. What did get shown last year is that you can't just throw anybody in there, no matter how good the team is, and get the same level of success, even though it's not saying that they couldn't have some success. This is a team and an organization that's about winning championships. And their best chance of getting a championship is with Lamar Jackson. They're not going to get what? They're not going to get one of the top 3 quarterbacks if it's not Lamar Jackson on the team. Those are not tradable assets. So are you going to get a rookie? Are you going to get an average quarterback, a quarterback with potential? No. You're going to franchise him, or you're going to pay him, or you're going to franchise him and pay him. But Lamar not going nowhere.
Real quick, Joe, and this is why I think the franchise tag is best for all parties, because the Ravens are going to see if Lamar can stay healthy, 1. Number 2, play in a pro-style offense because they have a real OC now. And number 3, actually take this team deep into the playoffs because they're going to get him some weapons. They're going to get him some help. This is the time to prove it. Now, if he goes out there, goes deep in the playoffs like a Jalen Hurts or wins the Super Bowl like Pat Mahomes, they're going to pay him whatever he wants, like we saw with Joe Flacco.
I hear that. And then even Pat Mahomes, he's asking for more money than Pat Mahomes. Let's remember that. It's not like they're asking for a matching contract with Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes, what? He's making on a 10-year, what was it, like a 10-year deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think averaging maybe 40 million a year, 41 million a year. Yeah, 450 mil for 10 years. And it's only 141 that's guaranteed. So he's asking for a better contract than Pat Mahomes. And I still think the Ravens are going to pay him. I just don't know if he's getting that Deshaun Watson $200 million. He might, but either way, I think they're going to work something out.
So with the guaranteed money, what do you think is the issue? Because in the NFL, we're seeing more guaranteed money, but in other sports such as Major League Baseball and the NBA, they do have guaranteed contracts. So what is the holdup with the NFL and the guaranteed money?
Well, it's because all organizations aren't ready to put that money to the side to cover it. Again, if the agreement is that you have to sit that money to the side in escrow, all NFL teams don't have that type of revenue each year. The Dallas Cowboys can do it. You're talking about the most the highest the organization or sports team with the most revenue of all leagues. So yeah, that do that, but could that happen across the league? So you're not going to get the owners all to agree to that because maybe 4 or 5 teams, the Giants, the Commanders, Dallas, there are only a certain amount of teams that could really handle giving out more guaranteed contract because of how much revenue they bring in. And the Ravens aren't one of those organizations. So I don't see the owners coming together to agree to that unless they were positioned to do it. And TV deals and other money deals have already been agreed to. So I don't know what new money is going to come in that's going to help some of these other teams that are making as much, not making as much money, agree for contracts. MLB teams, more of them make more money. NBA teams, more of them make money. NFL, there's a lot of parity in terms of the teams that really make a lot of money and those that are, making enough to just guarantee contracts.
You want to hop in there, Crevonte?
Dang, like this is I didn't even think about that. That's news to me. Like, yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs at this point make significantly more money than the Houston Texans. Absolutely. But for that to happen, everybody has to be in agreement. So, I didn't even think about that of an aspect of why doesn't the NFL? I'm thinking low level. I'm thinking just because of the physicality of the sport, like you don't know, like in any play. I mean, I guess you could say that any sport, but really in NFL, a play could end, in everything, and we've seen it happen, unfortunately. And I'm thinking that's the reason why. But no, the Jacksonville Jaguars and Houston Texans are holding everybody back at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, just to run off some numbers, just to throw them out there. I told you this is what I do. I'm a numbers guy. So just to run off some numbers, the Cowboys they're worth $8 billion. Okay, the 6.4 billion. The Rams 6.2. The Giants 5.6. The Bears 5.8. And the Commanders are 5.6. That's rolling out the top 10 in terms of all organizations, no matter if it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever. But then there's a big drop off, and that's based on the worth that was built over years. So a lot of these teams could be worth billions, but just like I said, just like the Ravens, I think they're worth about 3 to 4 billion, but they're only pulling in after operation income 140 million a year.
Yeah.
So it's just a big difference, and a lot of that goes into, people don't know that jersey sales. Teams get 50% of jersey sales. So when this whole Lamar Jackson thing in business, when you align it, they want Lamar Jackson to be a bigger star because that's going to make the Ravens more money. But the fact that it is an issue that they're having. So it's not just about Lamar. The criticism is also your team. We want you to represent the franchise in such a way that you're bringing in enough money for us to pay you more money. But if you're not going to go get the endorsements, if you're not going to go, at least we got Justin Tucker with a Royal Farms endorsement and not our top quarterback MVP. So what's going on where you're not generating that type of money? And that's what goes into the decisions. It's more business. That it's not about safety. They could talk about safety all they want. And when I see it's always coming down to business. And these guys, these billionaires, are not trying to put aside a certain amount of money if they're not going to get that money back generated from a player like Lamar Jackson. They're going to do it, but they still got to coach him into making more money.
My man,
hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's real quick. We got to shout out to
what's up?
Snowman is in remission. Shout out to Snowman. He's in
Snowman.
So shout out to Snowman. Engraven, we see you, brother. Let us know when you're available to come back on the show. But yeah, shout out to Engraven as well. Yes.
Yo, B, real quick. So how much does the location of the team go into how much they're worth?
Yes. You talking about me? You want me to answer that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Location is a big deal. And of course, you look at Dallas and how many people are in Texas, as opposed to how many people are in Green Bay. Green Bay is and Green Bay also is different because they're partially owned by the public. Right. So then when their decision making, it's a whole nother mix. Again, location does matter. Baltimore, we're a mid-sized city with about 600,000 people. But then we also got to compete with DC, who's not too far from us, and Philly, that's a little bit north of us. But Philly has more people for their team, and of course they're doing well. So you're right, location does matter, but it's more about population around the location.
Okay. Got it.
Well, this is why I have an issue, and it with the owner, Steve Bisciotti. Now you breaking it down. You're talking about jersey sales. You're talking about the business part, the aspect of it, and it just makes me realize and wonder, like, bro, like, you talk about, you don't want to pay fully guaranteed contracts and all this other type of stuff, but every year you see the cap going up and up and up, and it's just like, I hear what he's saying, but right now Jalen is about to get paid. Daniel Jones is up for a contract. Joe Burrow is up for a contract. A lot of these quarterbacks that haven't really won anything are up for contracts as well as Lamar Jackson, and they might get paid before Lamar Jackson. So I'm just thinking, like, at this point, if you want to continue to be in the mix, and as being one of the top teams in the league, I think you need to really just pay your quarterback. I mean, even if it really costs you a fully guaranteed contract at this point.
I hear you, but the other owners are also going to push them not. See, as a collective. Again, the owners don't work by themselves; they're together. So they're going to push him not to do what Cleveland did and make Cleveland look like silly. You know what I mean? Just because they gave away that one guarantee.
That's why we call them the clowns, Joe. We call them the clowns on the show.
And then they didn't win nothing with that guaranteed contract. And next year they ain't gonna win nothing either. They gonna win some games, but they probably won't even win. You gotta get through Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. With that move, it doesn't put them in a better position to act like they're gonna compete for the AFC championship, much more the Super Bowl when you gave up $200 million. What I will say is this, though, the players, this is one thing I will say that's good about the Ravens organizations. I do believe that some of the players are willing to restructure their contracts to make it happen, because some people don't know Ronnie Stanley is the top paid player on the Ravens team. But they can give him more guaranteed contract and extend him and then give Lamar more guaranteed money. So there's ways to make it work with working with some other contracts. And I think an extension for Ronnie Stanley is going to be a part of that. But ultimately, it still comes down to if they're going to invest that much money in Lamar Jackson, it's not just about what you do on the field. It's also what are you bringing the organization off the field. And right now, he's lacked in that. Again, you are a unanimous MVP, and you didn't get any endorsements. Your spotlight should be so much higher. You should be on an Under Armour contract, something, an Under Armour commercial or something that's going to bring more attention to the Ravens. I think that's really been a really big issue between him and the team. Steve Bisciotti wants to see, I want to work not just with Lamar, but with the Lamar team. But if the Lamar team's not getting it done and you're not going to change representation, how are we going to get you to a point where you're bringing enough money where whatever we pay you and sit to the side to the guarantee, even if we don't get a championship, it was still a good financial decision.
Mm.
So let me also follow up then, because you were naming some of the teams in the NFL, but then there are other sports teams like the New York Yankees. So how is it that the Dallas Cowboys continue to be the richest franchise in all of sports?
I mean, outside of the fact that they use their stadium to host boxing events and other things, because they have
everything.
Outside of that, jersey sales. Remember what I said? Teams get 50% of jersey sales. People still buy Emmitt Smith jerseys. People still buy Michael Irvin jerseys. And Michael Irvin is still on TV talking and being in front of people. All people could think about with the Ravens is like, okay, there's Ray Lewis. It's just not a plethora of players, old and new, that sell jerseys. So if you think about how many Cowboy jerseys you see, not just in the state of Dallas, but the entire country, you can understand the stadium brings in a lot of money, but it's the apparel that they get 50% of that brings in a lot of money. And that's why so many people hate on the Cowboys, because Cowboy fans are everywhere. They still buying all them jerseys, all them shirts, all that stuff with a Dallas star on it. They're getting 50% of that, not just jerseys, but apparel, period. So it's down to that. When you have a team that has a loyal following throughout the country and people buy the clothing, a new hat every year, this jersey, that jersey, they even when the team sucks, they still buying them jerseys. That ends up make more money for the organization.
Question.
Word on the street is, I want to say they said 10% of the country is Dallas fans.
Wow.
So there you go.
Hold up. You also got to consider that, just like me, or just like in basketball, I'm not a team fan because Baltimore doesn't have a team. I used to get down with the Wizards and stuff like that a little bit, but for the most part, I'm a player.
Best choice you made of your life. Best choice you made.
I'm just saying, I'm a player, but you have a lot of people who don't live in cities with football teams or who live in cities without football teams, and they choose the Cowboys because the Cowboys get talked about more. They're on TV more. They're on every Thanksgiving. We hear about them even when they suck from all the talk shows and everything else. So people become Dallas fans, even though the team is nothing in forever.
Go ahead, Rod.
True. That's true. Question. Changing gears a little bit. What are your thoughts on the new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken? I mean, I wasn't really impressed when we got him. I thought we could have got a better OC that was still out there that went to DC over there.
Right.
You see him? Right. Yes, that guy. Yeah, we could have got Eric Bieniniemy. I mean, he was coming right off of a championship, champagne dripping down his Chiefs, T-shirt or whatever. And we go with Todd Monken. Now, no, don't get me wrong. Todd Monken is a good offensive coordinator, 2 national championships, and he did a great job with the Buccaneers with Jameis Winston, although he threw 30 interceptions. That's neither here nor there. What are your thoughts?
I think whenever I see Coach Harbaugh and the moves the organization makes when it comes to offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators, it's about networking and who they're familiar with. It's about who they know. So you can have a better coach that honestly is better qualified, but the relationship matters, because at the end of the day, with the coaching staff, we've seen it in Dallas. We've seen it why they pick certain things, certain players, certain coaches. You have to be able to be cool with the other coach. It has to finesse in that way. So even though you might have somebody that's more qualified, sometimes they just go with who they know. I mean, that's how John Harbaugh got half of his jobs even before he was a head coach, it was about, look, I knew you from over here. As a cornerback coach, you knew my father, you knew my brother. Okay, it's easy to work over here in Philly. This whole NFL thing is a fraternity. So when it comes to these coaching jobs, I'm telling you, even though it's not supposed to be nepotism, not supposed to be favoritism, all these things are not supposed to play the role. I'm with you. It does play a role. I'm with you. They could have made a better pick. But ultimately, if the chemistry's there and if it works, fine. And if it doesn't, that's on John Harbaugh. That's where I'm like, that's something that we can directly criticize John Harbaugh for, because you choose who your OC is, your DC is. So if there's a failure there, that's one he can't run away from. You got to point right at him.
While we're still on the NFL, let me ask you this. The Super Bowl halftime show, they said that the performers don't get paid for this. So why is it that every year the NFL happens to get these big time artists to perform, yet they're not getting paid to do the Super Bowl halftime show?
Oh man, look, you ain't got to pay anybody to be on something with 108 to 116 viewers at the same time. I mean, at the end of the day, that's more exposure than you're gonna get on any other platform any other day at one time. I mean, we don't even see that happen on, look, whether you streaming or doing whatever, we don't see that happening. So you have to consider you're going to be put in front of so many people. And then here's the other thing. The NFL don't have to pay you if I just wear a bunch of Pepsi stuff and they sponsor me. Yeah, I don't need the NFL money. All I got to do is be a walking billboard. People forget that's how you also get paid. If I go over there with, she had Fenty on everything, she's selling her brand. And on top of that, she can write off, here's the business part, the cost of some of the performance and other things that she had to pay for. You can write that off as a business expense, as a cost of Fenty. So now the money that I do spend there is a write-off anyway. So I get a tax write-off. I get to put my Fenty in front of everybody. And then I get to basically have the longest Super Bowl commercial out there. Remember, people pay millions of dollars for Super Bowl commercials. I got the whole halftime show. That's my billboard. That's my commercial. And now, because it's my commercial, Pepsi, if you want in on this, you're going to have to give me some bread. Coca-Cola, if you want in on this, you got to give me some bread. So it's still a way to get side hustles. And you don't take the front money from the NFL, because just like the NFL works, it's nice to make NFL money. It's better to make sponsorship money. It's like Shaq said, yeah, he got all his NBA checks and he ain't spending a day in his life doing while he was playing, because he was living off of sponsorship money. Sponsorship money is the way to go. Boxing events, the same thing. You see boxers coming to the ring with all this stuff on their trunks, all this, all that. A lot of what they make is based on sponsorship. So sponsorships win in that situation, and getting in front of 100 plus million people at one time for 15 or so minutes is worth doing for free.
Well, Joe, we gotta switch gears. Let's get some NBA in here real quick, because you mentioned you are a Jordan and LeBron guy. Jordan just turned 60 on Friday. LeBron, all-time scoring leader. What are your thoughts on the two, and when people try to pit them against each other, and what you're looking forward to for the second half of the season? I know you said you're a players guy. We had a seismic nuclear weapon go from the Nets to the Suns.
Yes.
Kyrie is in Dallas. Today we had some moves. Just your thoughts on the NBA, LeBron, Jordan.
See, I put it like this. I came in, I talked to Dre about this when I came in the studio. Jordan was the first person that introduced me to basketball. Okay, so LeBron can never do that for me. That doesn't mean LeBron's not a better player, all-around player, nothing. But Jordan, the impact he had on me, I wanted to dunk, shoot, all that. I did dunk eventually, but that was from Jordan. I suppose that for some younger people, that's LeBron for them. So I don't knock people on that level in terms of who's your favorite player. I'm like, LeBron can't do that for me just because of when I was born. However, when it comes to set, I'm like, I watched both of them. I watched Jordan and I watched LeBron, two total different players. With people like myself who grew up on Jordan, I'm going to say this, that we have to accept, is that at first I thought the way Jordan played the game was the way you had to play the game. So Kobe, a fan of Kobe, because Kobe approached the game just like Jordan. And if Jordan set the standard to me on how you play the game, then that was my judgment space. But the truth is there are multiple ways to play the game, and LeBron showed that. He didn't try to be Jordan, he tried to be LeBron. So I got to always respect him for taking his approach and say that Jordan's approach isn't the definition of how you play basketball. Success is success. And one thing also about him being an all-time leader, I think it has to be great. I heard it during the All-Star game, even though, like you said, that sorry game. One thing I'm gonna say is I think it's dope. It must be dope every time you introduce why you playing now as you're the NBA all-time leading scorer. I mean, that can never feel bad. Like, I don't care what you say about me at this point. I am the NBA's all-time scorer, and I'm still playing. And now every time I get introduced, that's what you introduced me as. The only other players that's alive that got that was Kareem. And then before, so it's like, that's a dope thing to have. I believe that, again, I love LeBron's game. I love what he brings to the game. I love how he's an ambassador of the game. I just don't compare the two as a one-to-one. I look at Jordan as Jordan. I look at LeBron as LeBron. I did compare Kobe to Jordan because he tried to duplicate Jordan so much. I compared LeBron to LeBron, and then I don't make it on a one-on-one because here's the other thing. LeBron might be a better team player. Jordan might be a better individual player, but one-on-one, LeBron's so much bigger than Jordan that I'm not even going to say that Jordan could do anything to stop LeBron. I seen Jordan when he played defense. Everybody like he was acting like he was a defensive monster. He was good, but he wouldn't guard the most athletic people in the world. Scottie Pippen usually handled that, to be for real with you. But again, that's me going back with basketball stuff. So at the end, you got their comparisons. I love them both. But at the end of the day, I don't pit the two against each other as much. Outside of that, I'm not going to say I love what KD did. I just think it's a black eye on Brooklyn. Like, how you going to lose Harden, KD, and Kyrie? Now, I'm not saying these players don't have it, but the common denominator is Brooklyn. So something must be going on with Brooklyn where they just can't keep their stars. I don't look at Durant since he went to Golden State. I don't look at him a certain way in terms of believing that he's going to be the top 5 all-time, top 10 all-time. I actually don't judge him that way. I just think he's a great player for now. But I like that he came over to a good team that has a chance to win the championship. The West is still wide open to me, even with that move, because a lot of teams got stronger. I don't know if that trade with Russell Westbrook is going to work out for the Clippers, but nevertheless, I still believe good moves were made in the West. I think the East is not as competitive as it was. It's actually going to be a little bit easier to come out the East. And for this second half, I am interested to see with the Lakers' new additions, the way they gelled even from that one game. I think if the Lakers are healthy, which is a big if because we talking about AD, talking about street clothes. If street clothes is bubble AD somehow, if he's bubble AD, they can compete. If he's not and he's street clothes, they might make the play-in. They might get into the playoffs, but they're not beating the top teams in the West. So really, to me, it's on AD. You know how far that Laker team goes.
All right. So since we are talking about the Lakers, and they're one of the teams that, of course, continues to be one of the premier teams in the NBA as far as branding. How beneficial is it to the NBA for a team like the Lakers to get back to a championship caliber level, or the Boston Celtics?
Oh, it's very important. When I was giving out those numbers about the organizations in terms of all sports, and I'm talking about this includes soccer, this includes everything. When I say top 10, the Lakers are number 10 in net worth. They're worth $5.5 billion. So obviously, they're a franchise that it's good when they win, but at the same time, the Knicks are worth $5.8 billion and they ain't won. In fact, so it's like, yeah, the Lakers are a brand, and they certainly the better they do, the more attention. In fact, what I think is really it's bigger than the Lakers at this point. LeBron is a brand, and we'll find out. Just like Tiger Woods, when LeBron is gone, LeBron brings so many viewers to the game because of the discussion of who's the all-time greatest. So he like Floyd Mayweather. The haters coming to see LeBron, and the people that like coming to see LeBron. Either way, he box office. So the Lakers are box office more right now because of LeBron, and they know how to bring in the right stars. I still say what we really need to question is who's going to carry the torch after LeBron. Who's going to be, not just based on your game, who's really going to carry the torch of the NBA? Ja is exciting. Don't get me wrong. I like what Ja is bringing to the table, but we had exciting dunkers before. Steve Francis was an exciting dunker for a couple years, but he couldn't carry the lead. So it's like, I'm more curious to see, not based on the team, but what player is going to elevate in a LeBron type of way to carry the lead, because his time is coming to an end.
So do you think that the Lakers will make the playoffs this year? Well, you said it depends on Anthony Davis. Of course, it depends on Anthony Davis, but I think there's 23 games left, right, for the rest of the season. So what are your thoughts? Do we make the play-in tournament at least?
Yes, because the schedule is favorable. The Lakers play most of the teams in their way. So all they really got to do is win. It's not that you got to go undefeated. It's a lot of matchups that they have. Golden State, when they come back, the first game is against Golden State. If you just, and I think that's still going to be without Steph, if you just beat the teams that are on your schedule, let me say, somebody say they win 16 or 17 of those games, and most of them against the people on the schedule that's in their way, they can make at least the play-in. So I believe even if AD doesn't turn out to be bubble AD, if he just average AD and he plays, I still believe that they get into the playoffs. But if they're going to make noise, they need, of everybody that's on that team, they need AD to be a 30-point AD. They don't need AD looking lost, shooting threes and playing in a crazy way. They need him to be in the paint, and they need him to get fouled, and they need him to put up 30. Because if you do that, plus LeBron, now you got shooters, now you got Russell back, and that's a good 20 points, and he can stretch the floor. You have just a better team. It can happen, but it's still on AD. More than Braun, it's actually on AD.
All right. Go. You gonna say something to say, Trey?
Oh no, go ahead. All
right, I was gonna say, well, we already know about the All-Star game yesterday, and we seen the lack of effort, and we seen a lot of the goofiness that's going on with the NBA as far as people sitting out and people, get, quote unquote hurt and stuff like that. You're a money guy. The collective bargaining agreement is coming up very, very soon. What are your thoughts, man? Do you think that the owners are going to take back some of the NBA players' power, or do you think that the NBA players are going to get even more power because they have all the power and leverage in the world?
Yeah, the NBA players are not giving up more power. I mean, not giving up any of the power they have. The NBA is such a star-driven league that they have more negotiating power than the NFL. Because you just thought it's something this simple. In the NFL, great players still got helmets on. You can't see their face. All right, in the NBA, so many stars that are even average on any night, just because you can see their face, they get recognition. So they go out. My man who just from the D League that just won a dunk contest. All right, people know his face now. He can have jerseys that sell just on a dunk contest performance when he hasn't even really made it to the league for real. So the NBA is star-driven. You can't really hold back the NBA in terms of the players' power. You're right. I think 23-24 is the start of 23, and then 24 is when the CBA ends in 2024. So I hear you. I just think the players have control. They'll give in some. I think they won't have to deal with things like minutes. That's not going to be a thing. This whole load, what do you call it?
Load management.
The players, the commissioner already spoke, and they pretty much going to let them keep doing what they're doing. What they might do is they might even increase the roster size, which gives people the more opportunities to have more rest throughout the season. It's going to the players. The All-Star game, really, you can't do anything to make that meaningful. They done named a new trophy, built here's a trophy for the winner. At the end of the day, with so much money on the line, the All-Star game is not going to be what it once was unless you make it full of people that's not All-Stars. Unless you just make it full of B-level players that really need better jersey sales. They're not really making as much money. Then they're going to try to go off just because they have more incentive to do so. NBA real all-stars, they don't really have the incentive to just do more than what they did last night, which was sad.
So are you a fan of the new format where they were picking their players live, or do you like it similar to what they had before where it was kind of a pre-show to who was going to be on the teams and then they actually play the game? Or do you want it to go back to the East versus West scenario where they had it before?
I like East versus West more because it's more of a rivalry. You know what I mean? I get the whole pickup game. This is not a real pickup game. Like, who's going to get picked last? It's like you can try to make it more exciting by saying we're going to make it like a pickup game. but I think you get more animosity. I think you get more going when it's just East versus West, because that's something to fight for. And if maybe they put something on the line for the East versus West outside of money and charity, maybe if there's some serious ramifications, it'll matter more. Maybe if they put how many home games the East, whenever the East goes against West, maybe within the season, they say if the East wins, they get more home games versus the West, or the West gets more home games versus the East. Those home games are important. So that's a way to negotiate. You just got to put something in, but I'm not a fan of what it is today because it just doesn't bring excitement. You can pick people the same day. You could do all that. But if the player's not going to really play for nothing, too much excitement.
One proposal out there was that I heard was maybe that similar to what you said about how baseball does it, either the winner could win home field in the NBA Finals, or what they could do is, because they have enough international players, have USA players versus international players as well.
Now, I like the NBA versus international player idea better, because you don't make an all-star game. It's not fair to take away putting forth the effort to win the conference, and then you lose home court advantage. Then it's like all teams aren't playing for the enough right there during the season. So I don't want to take away that reward. That's what makes the season more competitive, knowing that you can get that number one seed. But I do like the idea of kind of like almost like Olympic style. It's like America versus the world, because you include in Canada, you bring everybody, Europe, everybody together versus US. It might work. Ultimately, we'll see. But brother, what was you about to say? I saw you trying to get in there before you got cut off.
So I was thinking, so I'm not crazy about Sunday. Because I agree. I feel like the All-Star game is not too much more you can do to it, because the top guys are pretty much the top guys. We can all pick the top 10 to 15 players that's going to be in the All-Star game. I think what needs to be fixed is Saturday. Saturday needs to come back. It was Saturday that was the most exciting. Sunday was never really the most exciting day in the weekend. It was always Saturday. It was a 3-point shootout. It was the dunk contest. Even I got into the skills before the big men got involved. It was a guard thing once upon a time. But that needs to get back into it. I think the Stars should put more effort into Saturday to bring back All-Star Weekend. What do you think?
I like that idea. In fact, I'm going to take it one step further, though. I think since the Stars aren't competing in the dunk contest, I think you should have the dunk contest before the All-Star game. Same night. Don't separate it in two separate nights. And see, it was a thing when you had the All-Stars actually participating, because in that case, the All-Stars couldn't do both. You couldn't put all that energy into the dunk contest and then go play a game. But honestly, if the big players are not going to be in a dunk contest, if you want to make more excitement that same night, what it does is it puts pressure on the players to put up a better performance. Because if the dunk contest go off before, that energy is in the building live and everybody's hyped. If you come with a weak game after that, you might even get booed. You know what I mean? Just because the excitement's already up there, it kind of sets the bar high. Instead of having it, you don't have nothing coming before you to set the tone. So an introduction from Vin Diesel not setting the tone. We're not selling cars and fast stuff like that. Here's something live. That's not going to do it. But the dunk contest, if the Stars are not going to be in it, the dunk contest before the game, they're going to play. In fact, you probably see better dunks in the game.
Right.
That's true.
Let's stick with basketball, because we talked about the NBA, but what about the WNBA?
The WNBA is a broke league. All right, we're gonna talk. It is what it is, because I can tell you, I got the numbers on the WNBA. They bring in about 60 million in revenue every year. Okay, 60 million. I think during the COVID, they might have brought in 80 million, but they bring about 60 million, but they losing 10 million a year. All right, so when we look at the WNBA, we got to question, why is it not supported specifically by women? Okay, and I'm gonna say that because the women viewership of the game, that you want to support these other women making money, you want to drive it up, they need more support from women. They do need support from men. They do need support from us. But they also need a lot more support from women, because just in numbers, there are more women than men, period. Just like the Super Bowl halftime show, when Rihanna showed up and performed, those numbers went up by tens of millions of viewers at one, right? So show up like that for the WNBA players. You get what I mean? Show up the same way, give them that same energy. That's going to generate more money. We'll probably see more creative things about what they're doing with their jerseys. And some of them women fine too. So they should get a lot more attention. Just they could be used to sell the league a little bit better than they're being utilized. Because I'm like, man, look, some of y'all, you end up watching some of those games and it's like, all right, well, I can't see this while I'm watching the NBA for my preference, but I can see this when I'm watching the WNBA. So some of those things work in there. But yeah, the WNBA right now is a failing league. It's losing money every year. You can't force the public to support something, but if the public don't want to see it go away, they're going to have to do something. Otherwise, it's going to be a league that's always supported by another league, meaning the NBA is going to give them money to help them stay afloat, but they'll never grow. So they really need support, man. Losing $10 million a year is crazy for any type of organization or league. How do you keep that going year after year?
But they want more money, though. That's what they said. They want more paychecks, or
Well,
bigger paychecks.
The problem with the pay is it's not like they have a worse deal than the NBA. People don't understand that they have like they get like 50% of the revenue. It's just not enough revenue. So the women aren't being paid less because they have worse contracts. The league just not bringing in enough money. I mean, their top player now was Jackie Young for the Aces. She makes $250,000 a year. Okay, wow. $252,000 a year for their top player. I think at the average salary is about $102,000 a year is the average salary. But I will say this: the NBA had to go through their growth. Okay, NBA players didn't just make all of this money overnight. It took time for them to grow the game. You know what I mean? Think of the league before Dr. J. Barry, before all these type of earlier players that put the league up. It's also on the WNBA to build enough stars up to make people want to watch. And it's too early to say that they should have that. We do got to give them time, like the NBA got time to really develop. But the WNBA isn't going to be overnight success. It's going to be something. Something has to happen to build more stars. If they build more stars, they'll get. And I'm saying you can start building those stars from high school. Who's the top female basketball player in high school? No one knows. But we know all the McDonald's top 100 or top players.
All of them.
Yeah.
But we know who's the top, and it's a young lady out there probably killing it right now. You know what I mean? She might be putting up 40 a night, and we don't know it. We got to start it there so we can build them up to stars before they get to the WNBA, so they get followed. Then and today we got social media, so you can literally follow a player more easily through the journey. And then when they get to the WNBA, now they already got a fan base. Now they already have 1 million followers, who are willing to tune into the game. So we got to do the WNBA and the college level and high school levels got to work better to build their stars, just like the NBA built their stars.
Right. Let me also ask, since we're talking about growing leagues, Ice Cube with the big three.
Yeah.
About
big three. I like the idea that they initially put, you get these older players playing 3-on-3 basketball. I even like the idea that even though it's not really the case, they give the impression that as they expand, you actually can get some normal former college player, high school guys, people who have skills that can play with these older NBA players, which would have been their dream for their entire life. I like the idea of where the league is going. I know that, let me just say, Ice Cube and the other owners, they have sponsorship. They're working on that. I think they got Fox and yes. They have Verizon, Microsoft, Taco Bell, Toyota, Monster Energy Drink. So they are doing the right thing in terms of getting sponsorships. Fox and CBS is because of where their games can be played. but they have to make sure they don't set themselves up to be a competitor of the NBA, because you're not a competitor of the NBA. If anything, you know what? Big Three is almost like celebrity boxing. All right, we like to see our older stars go out there, do their thing, put on some highlights, see some people talk trash. They really got to like hype it up in that way. I like the idea, I like where it's going. I love to support it, and I do. But I know they're trying to sell teams also. They're trying to get other people invested in trying to sell teams. I hope it makes it. I hope it develops, because I believe for the entertainment value, it's a worthy league. It's something that they own to something. I'll put it that way.
I got 2 final questions for you. One of them is not a non-sports related question, but my first one is this: the XFL is back.
Yeah.
Does the XFL this time around succeed? And my final question is a finance.
Oh, we froze up.
Oh, Uncle Rod froze.
Oh man.
He's always telling us he's got the best Wi-Fi. He's got the extender. And he over there doing the robot.
I said,
He's over there doing the robot.
Crazy Allah right now or something. Yo, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. But look, why I can answer the first part of his question while it's paused. If we come back, then we can get to the second part. But the XFL, which was purchased by The Rock and a couple other people, $15 million, which to me is a bargain in 2020. I like what they started so far because of their partnership with Disney. At the end of the day, you get with Disney, and you got with ESPN, and you got The Rock, you have a good chance to get things done. It's all about who you partner with and where your game's going to be shown. And the fact that their games will be shown ESPN, ESPN2, also ESPN Plus you're with Disney, so you have other opportunities for regular TV. They seem to be going in the right direction. But again, this is a star league. So if they're able to, The Rock knows how to move the people. You know what I mean? Dwayne Johnson understands the game of building characters. If he really implements that into the XFL, and by the way, they work with the NFL. People also don't know that they do have a relationship with the NFL. When it comes to studying the game of football, they're partnering with the NFL when it comes to how to better make things safer for players, and also how we can make the game better. So this is an organization now that's not going against the NFL, but you're working with the NFL. You got ESPN on your side. You got somebody who knows how to do character development, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It seems like they have a formula of success. Not to mention, this is a person that he had to show ballers. He had a lot of other things going on. Don't be surprised if XFL athletes start showing up in TV shows. Again, it's all about building stars, and he has the relationships even in Hollywood to help build those stars. And honestly, as long as they balling, we'll watch it. We'll watch it.
Do you think that The Rock and LeBron are on their way to be billionaires at this point?
Oh, LeBron's already a billionaire.
LeBron dead, baby.
Yeah, he's already
playing.
The Rock, I don't know what his money is like. I mean, I like his investments, but I say if the XFL works, obviously he will be a billionaire. If he isn't already right, he's still one of the top earning actors in Hollywood today, and he's been on that run for the last 5 to 10 years. So I don't know what he's investing in. I know he has enough money to do it. I mean, even if he were 500 M's.
I think right now he's at about 8. He's worth about 800 mil.
Oh, he around the corner. He's gonna be a billionaire. He probably gonna make the list in 2024, like guaranteed. And not just from the XFL, even if just from his. I think he might have a tequila. I know he has a drink that he does too. He's invested in so many things, and at the end of the day, if he gets one of his movies to really go off, you know what I mean? Whether it's one of those with what is his latest movie that he did as a something like not a superhero, but it wasn't Marvel.
Oh, Black Adam was
Black Adam.
Maybe Black Adam wasn't that great, but maybe if Black Adam the next one is great or something, you never know. He might hit one. And if he hit one out the park, he's gonna have it because he still commands great money when it comes to acting. So I think he'll get there. He'll definitely get a B. LeBron's already at $1 billion, and that's just Magic Johnson promised him that he would get there by coming to LA, and he's right.
Joe, how can the people keep up with you and get that financial etiquette, that money etiquette, and those gems you be dropping each and every day?
Definitely on Instagram and Facebook. Y'all can follow me at Joseph Lorick, JosepHLorick. On YouTube, you can follow me, or you can see my content videos. I do a lot of videos about cryptocurrency. I talk about everything finance. I talk about just investing. I have a kind of a storyline going where I've been showing behind the scenes of me building a business for the last 3 years from scratch, from my backyard movie theaters. I showed from the first day until this day how to build a business off of basically nothing, and took people along that journey. So that's there for my entrepreneurs. But all that can be found on the Money Etiquette Group LLC channel on YouTube. And then on, of course, like we said, on Wealthy Wednesdays, on Wednesdays at 9:20 a.m. each week, every morning on WEAA with my man Dre. You can catch me dropping jewels every Wednesday live on air. I reposted on my Instagram page just in case you can't catch it. And like I said, I'm all for giving out that information for free. I'm all for giving out that information so that we can empower each other, because the more of us that win, the better. And I want to see all of us win.
I know Roger was trying to come back in.
There he is.
Made it back.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm here. I'm back. My Wi-Fi is acting up. Some had went out. But quick question before I pop up out of here again. 2 questions. I said the XFL. What are your thoughts on the XFL coming back? Do you think it's going to last this time? And 2, what do you? I'm a mutual funds kind of guy. What are your thoughts on? What is your best financial advice if you're trying to get invest or build up wealth?
All right. One thing, we just talked about the XFL, but I said this: with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson running it, if he can work on character development, meaning making people in their stars, and aligning with ESPN, having those games on a big platform, they working with the NFL as well, I think it can be successful. I think it can make money, and they only bought it for $15 million, so it's not going to take much to build a profit, long as their operating costs are low. I think the XFL can work. It doesn't compete directly with the NFL, but it's all about making stars. Before the Ravens got a team, we had a CFL team, and people put these little funny names on the back. There were stars that we could remember their names based on their performance, and then some of them made it to the NFL. Just make stars, and I guarantee it work out there. Uh-oh, you got double? Okay, there we go. When it comes to your second question, I can't tell you without knowing about your money what you should do with your money. Let's start there, because a lot of people like to give general advice, do this or do that. I don't know your goals. I don't know anything, but I will say this. Always think about the numbers and the demographic you in. When you're young, you can go big and go hard. You can take risky investments because you can fail and come back time and time again the younger you are. And I'm talking about 20s and 30s, even into your 40s. You don't want to start getting super conservative until you're getting close to retirement, which is your 50s and 60s. Now is the time to take the risk. Just do your homework. Whatever you invest in, whatever it's going to be, understand this: everything works in cycles. A big part of the advice I give is paying attention to history, because it tells us where we're going to be today. I've predicted recessions. I've predicted recoveries. I've done predictions on, okay, this, because of this boom and streaming happened, that means that these people are going to win on the side. It's all about learning from what's already happening, because I'm telling y'all, all this stuff is a repeated cycle over and over again. All you want to do is get in at the right time. The dot-com boom, same thing. Mark Cuban, it was about good timing. He had a dot-com company that he put that into NBA money. That was just good timing. It wasn't about being a genius. Good timing. So it's all about getting in the right markets at the right time, and then getting out at the right time. And that's not really a day-to-day thing. Pay attention to the general economy, get your direction. Listen to some people like me to help you out, get some advice, and don't be scared, because you're too young to be scared. No, don't fear not knowing everything. Sometimes, look, if you see something that makes sense, if you already support a brand in your house, if you're a consumer if you're committed to certain brands and certain things, why not own some of that? You're already committed and convinced as a customer. So go ahead and get some shares and be on the ownership side too. These are just, my general pieces of advice. More importantly, though, do your research, pay attention. If you're young, hey, go for it. Because if you lose, you can come back more easily than you think. Losing $1,000, $5,000 in a year, just to be honest with you, when you're young, It's not going to stop your retirement. Your retirement going to require a lot more money than that. So that's not going to set you back that far. Just go for it while you're young. Go for it while you have the moment, and do your research so you feel more confident about what you're doing.
Give it up for Joe Lorick, everybody. Joe,
Uncle
appreciate
Joe.
you. Definitely got to have you back.
Hey man, whenever y'all need me and I'm available, I'll be here, bro.
Hey, Uncle Joe, thank you as always.
Appreciate it. Make sure y'all
Dropping
follow him in
gems
the
as
Money
always.
Etiquette
Oh,
group. Check
word.
him out on WBA on Wednesdays,
Appreciate
getting all
you,
those
man.
financial gems. Once again, give it up for Joseph Lord.
All
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Appreciate you, man.
One more time, let's give it up for Joe Lord, everybody. Appreciate him being on
Uncle
here
Joe.
with us, dropping those gems about the business and the financials of sports and how things work. But Raj, let's get into it. You talked a little bit about it off air, and as we led into the show, your thoughts on All-Star Weekend? We had Dame Lillard win the 3-point, Matt McClung from the G League winning the dunk contest, Jason Tatum All-Star game record 55 points, winning the MVP from his idol, named after his idol Kobe Bryant. LeBron banged up, Giannis banged up. Your thoughts as a whole on the weekend?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Probably the best event that happened outside of the dunk contest was the Celebrity All-Star game. I mean, I saw DK Metcalf jumping. I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Is he a basketball? Is he a football player? Or is he a basketball?
Wishing that was on the Ravens, huh?
Because I was like, my God, he was getting up there, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, it was more entertaining this year than it was last year. So I enjoyed watching that. I mean, the Miz was out there hitting halftime, shots and stuff. I'm like, the Miz? But it was cool, man. It was cool. The dunk contest was all right, because Matt McClung, came out there and he made every dunk. And he was looking, great doing it. So although the other guys, they was trying to do what they was trying to do, he was still in the show. All-Star Saturday night, even on Black History Month, by the way. Shout out to him. But yeah, that was dope. But Sunday, man, it was a goddamn disgrace, man. It was terrible. I hated every single bit of it. I kind of did like the beginning of it when LeBron and Giannis did pick their teams. I thought that was really, really interesting. But once the game got started, you know what? I can't say that. I liked Post Malone's performance. Post Malone had a great performance to start the show. I was like, this is cool. The halftime was dope with Tim's. Tim's was looking beautiful as usual, looking delicious, as I can say. But
this guy.
but the game itself, man. I mean, what has this league come to, man? I just don't understand. Growing up in the 90s, I wasn't the biggest.
You lying to the people again?
Shut up. I wasn't the biggest avid basketball player. But I remember All-Star games, man. I remember certain All-Star games, with Jordan and Ewing and Charles Barkley and those guys, and how hard they used to play back in those days, and coming up with Kobe and Tim Duncan and Shaq and early a young LeBron James, how those games used to be so competitive, so fierce. To now they're just shooting threes and not even trying to play basketball, or don't even give a damn about playing defense at all. Now it was just very frustrating to watch, and it was extremely boring. And I just felt really bad for like those guys that played the game in their heyday, and they're just looking at this mess, and they're like, they have to put on a front like, oh no, this is great, this is cool, or whatever. No. This is not it, man. This is not it. And I understand LeBron and Giannis were hurt. I get that, but it just comes to a certain point where it's like, bro, like, where's your integrity at? Where's the competitiveness? It's not. I mean, it's only one time a year where you get a collective of the best players that play this game to come together to play against each other to see who's like the best. And if you're just going to go out there and they're just going to have a layup line and you're going to just shoot threes and not play any defense, You might as well be the Pro Bowl games at this point. Don't even have a game at all. Just go out there and have skills competitions like on Saturday, and don't even show up, because that was just disgraceful to me. It really was, and a waste of time.
Hello, Crevonte.
So first things first, I want to shout out a couple people in the chat. Like Byron said earlier, shout out to Snowman.
Yes.
He hit me a couple of days ago saying that he was in remission and he'll be moving soon. So big ups to him. Congratulations, brother. Nothing but prayers to you and blessings to you and the family. And Lamar, I think his wife was talking about a cap and gown.
Yep.
Was that what was going on?
Yeah, who's about to graduate?
Congratulations, brother. Congratulations, brother. Improving yourself at every opportunity, especially in education, man. There it is. We absolutely love to see it. So big ups to Lamar, Oos, and Snowman in the morning. Also, he has some new rebranding stuff going on for Mr. Snowman. So big ups to him, and we wish him luck in all his future endeavors, and we love his support because he's been with us since the very beginning, Dre.
Yes.
So just wanted to do those shout outs real quick. So All-Star, like I was saying, man, because of, and I guess this is kind of the drawback of like what Stephen Curry and LeBron James has done to the NBA. There's always a good and there's always a not so good side. With all the power and the say so, guys are like, it doesn't mean that much. But also, everybody wants to shoot threes. Nobody wants to really dunk the ball anymore, which also could be a reason why the dunk contest is probably not as live as it used to be. It's just not hot no more. But I mind it. I don't mind the All-Star game. I was actually talking to Drake earlier. One thing I do like is that the fourth quarter is not a real quarter. You know what I'm saying? So it's actually going up to 24 points for whoever's winning. You add 24 points to their score, and that's the finish line, basically. I don't mind that because that quarter, or whatever you want to call that last portion, does get really competitive because the team that's behind has to make up ground plus scoring 24 points. So I do like that aspect of it. And typically the fourth quarter is the money quarter where we kind of, we do see defenses revved up. But like I said before, Sunday's not a big deal to me. It's Friday, it's Saturday, because Saturday was always it. Saturday, that's where all the memories were made. How many times when we looking back on those old commercials of All-Star Weekend, you see Kevin Garnett and Shaq making all their wild faces because somebody made a crazy dunk, and you remember Shaq with that camcorder when Vince Carter was up there flying high. Like, that's the stuff I remember. But it's not like that anymore. First of all, camcorders are not a thing anymore. But that's what Saturday's All-Star Weekend. And even back then, Fridays, celebrity game was always a thing. But they ain't had no real hoopers in the celebrity game. Like, I think they're doing better with getting guys who actually play basketball in the celebrity game. So that's an improvement. But it was Saturday. Because that's when everybody show off what they've been working on and their skills. And this is for the guys who's not necessarily all-stars. You know what I'm saying? So I think Saturday is my letdown.
Let me chime in real quick then. I would say that I agree with Crevonte. I think that overall, the NBA gives a great product. I think that they give the best product when it comes to festivity for All-Star Weekend, top to bottom. There's nobody competed with them. Even with baseball and what they've been doing with the home run derby and to their game, I think Now, I think if it comes to just the game we're talking about, of course, we're all going to vote here and say Major League Baseball has the best
Yes, absolutely.
game out of
Absolutely.
all the leagues. Of course, then like I said, the NBA gives the best product. Of course, we voted. We did this topic before during the we call this the dog days of sports, and we talked about the All-Star game itself, and we ranked the NFL as the last one, and the NBA as the second, and then of course baseball is the number one. I think one thing that we thrown out scenarios where we talked about East versus West. We understand why they're doing the pickup format. We threw out the scenario about possibly the Americans versus internationals when it comes to how the game could be more competitive. But I think that the NBA is very innovative and creative when it comes to this. Because for the longest time, we had a problem with the East versus West because there was always all this talent in the West and not that much in the East. To make it more fun, we thought it would be fun, kind of like a pickup style, and hence why we went to the team captains of like LeBron versus either KD or Giannis over the years. So I think that the NBA is constantly evolving. So I know when we critique the league and the game, but one thing I do appreciate about the NBA is that they're always trying their best to make the best product that they can for the fans. I think that they do listen to the people when they say that things could be better. Like you said, both the team captains were hurt, which is something that we haven't seen. And you got to give them at least credit because despite the injuries, they did try to go out there at least for a little bit. Giannis, of course, wasn't out there as long as LeBron. And LeBron, I think we can be a little more sympathetic to him because he's older and he does, at least he's trying his best at his advanced age, who still seems better than a lot of the league. But I think that I think that, of course, like you said, the celebrity game, of course, 3-point contest, those things seem to be good. The focus really right now has to be on both how do we improve the dunk contest and how do we improve the overall NBA All-Star game itself. Like Crevonte said, I think that the game itself, honestly, even when back in the day when you had the East format versus West format, they were still doing stuff. You had Shaq trying to cross up people, and Shaq wasn't crossing up nobody.
It was more exciting though when he did that.
I feel like
it was more competitive. Like this just had no competitiveness.
I felt like even back then it didn't get competitive until the fourth quarter to me.
I mean, so my thing was with the East-West thing, I'm kind of glad we got away from it because folks were getting washed. Like we were saying, All-Star games, folks were getting washed in All-Star games, and all we had was Allen Iverson putting up 40 points at a loss or something crazy. But I feel like guys never really played defense until the second half anyway. So I mean, I don't know. I think probably just more household names, a better era. We don't like the era of any sport right now, if we're being honest. Like everything has gotten soft from actual, society.
Don't even get us started about football.
And sports in general, like everything's got relatively soft.
Hold up, they looking like that.
So
you saying they looking like that Jonathan Majors cover?
Go back to full quarters of basketball and also I like the fourth quarter snowman personally. I like how they do the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, Mark.
The fourth quarter is probably
miss what I said.
No, I did.
I said. So you saying that society is looking like that Jonathan Majors cover?
I'm not a fan of it. Let's just say that.
That's why I ignored it, man.
It's really hard to make him look. He looked. I'm just saying that they went out their way. I'm just saying, and Jonathan Majors he's it right now. Like he's up and coming in the acting world, but they worked hard to do what they did.
I I'll say I agree with Crevonte. I think the fourth quarter has been the best, even when with the new changes. Of course, it speeds up the game, but even back in the day, it seemed like the players didn't take it seriously until the fourth quarter. Then it was like, oh snap, we gotta stop playing around with each other. And I think that with the dunk contest, it should the issue is star power. Our stars are not wanting to be in the dunk contest anymore. Like John Morant should have been in the dunk contest.
Yep.
LeBron should have competed in a dunk contest. Like, but right now, I think that once our stars started backing away from it, that's when the dunk contest has become an issue. Yes, we've probably seen every dunk that could possibly be made, but at the end of the day, it's NBA All-Star Weekend, and we need our stars to compete in order to make it the great weekend, the great weekend and the great contest that it should be. Yes, these stars are competing in the 3-point contest, but then we have somebody unknown winning the dunk contest. For all that, the dunk contest could be open to people who were playing and one in street ball, and then we could. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it looks like it needs, or what it's going to.
Well, that's what Matt McClung was. He was and one.
So basically, like I said,
he looked like the professor.
Yeah,
they somehow need our stars to participate in the dunk contest, but I think that some of them feel the pressure of social media, and being that they don't want to get embarrassed if they don't want to I'm just saying if they make a mistake, because that's what it seems to be getting down to. A lot of the stars just don't want the scrutiny of, if they make a mistake in the dunk contest, then it seems that like that'll be something that follows them forever. So I think that that's part of it too. But honestly, that's the real core issue to me, is that we need stars in that dunk contest in order to get it back to at least somewhat of of yesteryear.
Let us know in the comments what you think about All-Star Weekend and how you would change it. Real quick, let's get to some bio news. Russell Westbrook with the Clippers. Kevin Love is going to the Heat. Rod, you shaking your head real quick. How you feel?
Out of all the point guards, why the hell would you go get Russell Westbrook, LA? You just came from John Wall. It's like getting the same damn player again.
Whoa!
I just no, it is because John Wall was averaging, I think, 11 points.
No, John Wall ain't in the locker room as cancerous as Westbrook was, though.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, they were traded for each other at one point with the Wizards and the Lakers, or not, well, whatever. They was traded for one another at one point. I think it was the Wizards in Houston. But anyway, I don't get it, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Westbrook this year has played pretty well with the Lakers. All coming off the bench, he put his ego aside a little bit, and smiled a lot, made a couple shots here and there, improved his 3-point shooting just by a little bit, and was a team player. Now, can he do the same thing with the Clippers? Sure, but Westbrook's biggest problem has always been, and always probably will be, in clutch moments. And this year, in clutch moments, he was terrible. Trust me, I watched most of these Laker games. I know what Russell Westbrook did. And that's pretty much not a damn thing when it came in the fourth quarter, when he was able to play. He would turn the ball over a lot of times. LeBron James would be frustrated with him, and he would end up losing a lot of the games by 1 or 2 or 3 points. And I do not see Westbrook if he's in the game in the fourth quarter. I don't see him making an impact with the Clippers. I really don't. I think they should have went in another direction. I think they should have, got a guy that can actually shoot. I don't know why they got rid of Reggie Jackson. I'm keeping him. Reggie Jackson last year showed up, for him in the fourth quarters and is a good shooter. So I don't understand why they got rid of him. But I think it's a silly move for the Clippers. I think they just want to get some get back because of the Lakers, and they want to, rub it in their faces like, oh, look who we got. We got your former guy, Russell Westbrook on a cheaper price. It's just silly to me. It's petty, but this is what the Clippers are at this point. They're a very petty team. But we'll see what happens though, man. You know, Russ is going to be Russ. Hopefully he implodes in that locker room, but I mean, we shall see. But as far as Kevin Love goes to the Heat, I don't know if it's going to make really much of an impact. It could. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's a pretty good defender as well, and great rebounder when he wants to be. It might make sense, but I mean, time will tell. I mean, but that's his decision. He wants to go to Miami, so we'll see what happens with that.
Go Crevonte.
2 thumbs down.
I'm just glad that Russell Westbrook didn't make his way east. I'm glad he stayed on the West because there was rumors that the Wizards was in play for a return, and I'm about listen, y'all. I'll check out again. I have no problem.
Oh, you mean like the game itself? Sometimes.
Yeah. Hey man, listen. I'll take time off, baby. It happens. We all need to do it from time to time. Russell Westbrook to the Clippers. Oh, okay. I think them letting go of Reggie Jackson was probably more eye-opening than because Russell Westbrook is not a good replacement. I don't believe. I think Russell Westbrook is a stat stuffer and he's about himself. So I don't see any team that has him being able to succeed. Because not only is he a me guy, he's not even good when it counts. So when would the Clippers use him? Would they start him for the first 3 quarters and sit him the whole 4th quarter? Like, I don't know. Like, how would that work? But I don't envy Todd. Who's over there? Todd Lue's over there, right?
Yeah, Todd Lue's the coach.
Man, but by all means, brother, more power to you. If you could figure this one out, more power to you. Because you got a lot of guys. It's some personalities over there in Clipperland. Miami, Kevin Love in Miami. I think it's about 5 to 7 years too late. I think he would have been a great piece some time ago, but he's a little long in the tooth. Still a good 3-point shooter. I don't think he'll ever lose that, but I don't think he moved the needle that much. When we're talking about a scorer, we're talking about a guy that can, score from anywhere, put the ball on the floor. Kevin Love is more of a stationary guy, and I think Miami needs a little bit more. That Kevin Love move does not move the needle at all.
It doesn't move you?
Hell no.
Go ahead, Dre.
I mean, that's simply put. It doesn't. It's not a needle mover. I honestly felt like maybe Westbrook might have helped Miami a little bit with their bench, but I mean, outside of that, I just don't feel like this is a move that's going to propel the Miami Heat or the Clippers any further than what either team is right now. I think overall, when you think about the trades, of course the Lakers, panned out. Of course, you're going to say the Suns panned out, but the Clippers or Miami, it's like, who cares? At the end of the day, Miami, you're probably going to lose to Boston anyway. So, I mean, let's be real, right?
You're going to lose to Boston anyway.
Right now, I mean, we're in the East. We're talking about either the Bucks or we're talking about the Celtics,
Milwaukee.
Which to me, I would have loved to have seen Philadelphia in the mix, but I don't know what's going on with Philadelphia. We thought maybe that James Harden coming in would propel them, and it hasn't. And in the West, we're only talking about really the Suns or the Nuggets. Of course, we're going to throw Dallas in the mix, but Dallas after number 2, everybody else just kind of falls in this toss-up category right now because the race is so close right there in the West with teams like 4 or 5 games from each other. So I'm just saying, I just don't see how any of these trades made any real difference outside of the Suns propelling them, I think, a little further along to compete with the Nuggets. But I mean, outside of that, it's like who cares type of moves.
But you know, the West.
Well,
But before the Suns trade, nobody scared you in the West.
Mm-mm.
Like nobody. Like even with the Nuggets dominating, I guess I could say the West. It's like I don't. It's not. They're not fearful. KD made the Suns. It's scary now. It's real scary now. Now, luckily, the Suns are a little further behind, so you know they probably won't get the #1 seed because unless the Nuggets completely fall off. So the Suns are going to be in the middle, probably somewhere. But you know, the Nuggets probably may end with the #1 seed, which is crazy. There's no way. Let me say, speak for myself. No way I would have thought that. But even with them being #1 seed, what? Like, I don't know.
well, let's switch gears, Crevonte. While you're talking, this past week, your team, the Commanders, has a new offensive coordinator. Sparked a lot of discussion. No, he's not a head coach, but he goes to the Washington Commanders. Chiefs weren't renewing Eric Bieniemy's contract. He now becomes the offensive coordinator in Washington. And now we'll see what happens. The team probably will be sold. Will Ron Rivera be the coach? Could Eric Bieniemy be the coach in waiting, possibly? How you feeling, Crevonte?
So this is probably, well, and of course projecting, but this is probably the best move in franchise history. You know, outside of like the the Super Bowls and all that, but actually making moves. Not the biggest. Obviously, the biggest compliments were the Super Bowls, but as far as making moves, whether it's a roster change or a coaching change, this is probably the biggest move in the organization's franchise history. To get a guy, so I can't even say so sought after because nobody, no, he wasn't. Nobody was beating down the Chiefs' door for him, but he has a great opportunity in front of him. Now, it is going to be a complete uphill battle because, again, it's a huge drop off from Kansas City's offense to the Commanders' offense. It's a huge drop off. Like, nobody, he's not about to come in here and snap his fingers and his offense is going to do a 180. That's absolutely not going to happen. He has a lot of goofiness that he has inherited, mainly the offensive line. But the great part about this is that the Chiefs have a lot of free agents on their roster, offensive free agents.
You want Orlando Brown Jr.? You want Orlando Brown Jr. left tackle?
I would love. He's going to come with a hefty price tag, but I would love Orlando Brown. Also, that guard Wiley, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
One of the. I think he's I don't know if he's left or right guard, but he's one of the guards on that team. I would love him. He is not going to be a hefty price tag. But if we could somehow pull both, that would be amazing. But offensive line is going to be very, very, very important and very crucial to this offense. We have great guys on the outside, and we got great guys. A two-man tag team at running back. So you know, I like the potential, but I love the potential and I love the opportunity because what everybody's saying is that it's all Andy Reid. Basically, Eric Bieniemy has nothing to do with anything offense. It's all 100% Andy Reid. Even again, talking to Dre earlier, seeing what LaShawn McCoy had to say about it. And you know, listen, he would know better than I do, but granted, he came from a previous organization to Kansas City. I would go more on what Patrick Mahomes has to say as opposed to LaShawn McCoy. But then again, Eric Bieniemy is a running back by trade. A lot of running back coaches don't make it this high. It's only him and Anthony Lynn, really, that's made it from the running back coach ranks. Usually, we see a lot of offensive coordinators their former quarterbacks quarterbacks coaches, or like a tight ends coach, you know. But I'm excited. I absolutely am excited because listen, you've been under Andy Reid how long? You had to have picked up something. You know, five of the things you've had to picked up something. Even just down to how he runs meetings, how he does the install. You had to have picked up something. You know what I'm saying? And of course, he's a running back guy. So Ron Rivera was already saying, you know, he wants to still be able to run the ball. And Eric Bieniniemy is a running back guy. So, you know, I don't think he's going to come in here and we're all of a sudden going to have the top passing offense in the league. You know what I'm saying? But I am excited to see how things go. I do think we'll be sold. We're not going to be sold by the time they have the owners meeting. We'll probably be sold closer to the summertime, maybe even in the spring, because things are the bidding wars are revving up. So we'll probably be sold sooner rather than later, but I don't think it'll be in the month of March. So these are all exciting things. It's time to clean house. Listen, Daniel Snyder's been, like I said before, there's been a dark cloud over this Washington team. Honestly, Washington as a city, as a sports city, before the Nationals and the Capitals won their championships. But for the basketball and football, it's always been very difficult. Specifically football, especially since 1999 and 2000 when Daniel Snyder became the owner, and things had just gotten goofy and goofy and goofy and goofy. I saw a stat where since 2000, we've only averaged 20 or more points for a season 5 times in 22 years, basically from 2000 when he owned the team to 2022, this past season. We have only averaged 20 or more points per game 5 times.
Dang. I just did the math. That's pretty bad.
It's terrible.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. And under 18 points per game, 12.
Wow.
So we're talking, only 5. So of the 22 years, 17 of them was lackluster offensively. And this past year, we were, I think, in the bottom 5. So there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think that's what he can do. But now it's all on him because now he has to prove that he knows a thing or two on the offensive side of the ball, because literally Andy Reid is getting 100% of the credit. Absolutely 100%. And now he has the opportunity. This is your show. Let's see what you learn from Andy Reid, because Andy Reid's coaching tree, which is an extension of Mike Holmgren's coaching tree, has been pretty damn good.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. Now, don't get twisted. I've heard the noise, Dre. I've heard the noise. He doesn't really rub people the right way.
No.
He could be a bit harsh, a bit brash if you don't know him. And it's hard to do that up front when you haven't proved anything here. And elsewhere, there's you hiding behind Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So it's going to be rough. But if we see some success early, I think it'll bode well for the team getting behind him.
Well, I was going to say this can go either one or two ways.
Yep.
Because we already know that Washington is going to have new management, new ownership coming in very, very soon.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to want their own guys. And Ron Rivera this could be his last year. We don't know. He could be retiring. We don't know. But, I mean, if he comes in there, Eric Bieniniemy, if he comes in there and he does a great job, I could see him maybe being the head coach, and maybe next year or the year after. Or if he completely F's this up, he could be out next year or the year after. Sure. So it can be one. It can go one or two ways though. But I do wish the brother a lot of success. I wish him a lot of luck, because this is ridiculous. He should have had a coaching opportunity by now in these 5 years. that Patrick Mahomes been killing this league.
Yep.
And for him to make a lateral move just to prove that he's one of the best offensive coordinators in all of football after winning his second, Super Bowl.
Yep.
And being in 3 Super Bowls altogether.
And in the AFC Championship damn near every year.
All five
every year.
Is flat out ridiculous, but that's just neither here nor there.
But then the Eagles' entire coaching staff could get a head coaching job after one.
Yeah.
Look,
but
we've talked about Bieniniemy. Like, does he really have to continue to prove himself, or does he have to be a head coach? Hopefully this move propels him to that, because if he can turn this thing around in Washington, then my heavens, the sky is the limit. Of course, we're gonna wish that brother, nothing but the best. But Crevonte, we both heard the same things about Eric Bieniemy's coaching style. So I'm curious to see how this thing transpires, so that way this man can hopefully get the just due that he deserves and finally gets that head coaching position. After all.
Well, let's get to our main topic before we get the goofies and get out of here. Todd Monken, new offensive coordinator for the Ravens. We haven't talked about it. Rod is shaking his head. I don't know why. Looking at the numbers on the poll, 36% love it, 7% like it. But this is what kind of surprises me, and I don't know why people don't like it. But 43% wanted someone else, and 14% do not like it. So what's that? 57% out of the 100 don't like it, it seems like. Rod, you over there shaking your head. I think you're one of those people. Go ahead, Troy, real quick.
Because I know Rod is going to go in more in depth than what I'm going to say. I'll say this. I'm not excited about it, but I'm open to it. And I'm saying that in the fact that, yes, we didn't get Eric Bieniemy, but I feel like because we didn't get somebody like an Eric Bieniemy, we needed somebody that was going to be with some impact. And the fact that this guy comes in with NFL experience and that he's done it at Georgia, and being Georgia is not an offensive school, it's a defensive school.
Absolutely.
So most of their bread and butter is on the defensive side. So for him to be able to do what he was doing on the offensive side, with their quarterback and those receivers, so I'm open to it. I'm not going to totally turn my nose up at this move. I think that this can help Lamar, and then like you said, Byron, if they do the franchise tag with Lamar, and bring in a receiver, at this point you kind of can't put all the onus then on the lack of help or the offensive coordinator, because then as they can at least say, the Ravens can then sit back and say, hey, we tried, we got a creative coach from the collegiate level who comes in with some pro experience. You can run a pro offense again, and we're bringing in you some help. So that way it shows that this organization is trying to shift the gears. I don't think that most of us in Baltimore like this move, but I think a lot of us are at least kind of being like, okay, the realization we didn't get Eric Bieniemy, but at least the Ravens are trying. And also, I think it's a soft move for John Harbaugh as well, because this guy isn't really a threat to him per se. We'll see how the year propels, but I don't really think he's a threat to take Harbaugh's job if anything goes south. And that's something that John Harbaugh is definitely in favor of, somebody that's not really going to be a threat to his overall job. Now I hand over to Raj, because I know Raj is really going to go in.
It's not even that I'm going to go in depth, Trey. It's just the simple fact of the matter is we didn't want him. Okay, if that was the case, we could have hired his butt 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Well, let me chime in real quick. Besides Eric Bieniemy, who did you think? Because I don't remember this guy being in the mix. I just remember we kept talking about Eric Bieniemy, but I couldn't think of anybody else besides him that was in the mix.
I mean, there was Frank Wright, although he got picked up by Carolina. There was Byron Leftwich that was out there. And there was another guy that I can't think of. Oh, and it was a dude from the Eagles, but he ended up getting promoted. So But I wanted Eric Bieniniemy. I'm not even gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. I wanted Eric Bieniniemy. We waited till after the Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, great. We're gonna have an interview with him. It's gonna be either him or the Commanders. And I just feel like we completely just botched it, and we pretty much told him like, look, Lamar, we don't know if he's gonna be here or not. Either you take the job or you're not. He said, oh hell no, I'm gonna go to DC. But it's just like,
that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
I'm just saying, man, that's how it turned out. But it's just like, bro, if you wanted this guy, you could have hired him 2 weeks ago. And I just feel like we dragged it out for no reason at this point. Now, I'm not saying that he's not going to be a good offensive coordinator. He could be a great offensive coordinator for the Ravens. I don't know. My biggest issue is this. We're trying to change a lot of things in Baltimore right now. I mean, after this whole entire year of lackluster offenses, especially in the red zone area, this freaking contract with Lamar Jackson, we don't know if he's going to come back or not. And it's like everybody's been hammering you, from ESPN to Shannon Sharp and Fox to 105.7 The Fan. Everybody's been getting on your case. The whole internet has been killing you. And it's like, you don't have this type of guy. You don't have that type of guy to give Lamar help. You're not trying to give him the contract that he wants. Greg Roman is terrible. And you have the chance to get the best offensive coordinator that is sitting out there.
And you go out and you get
Dre. This guy?
That's what you talk about, Dre.
He's a national champion from Georgia. That's great. He's a national champion in college.
2 times.
Wonderful.
Blew TCU off the bus.
2 times.
Blew them up before they even got off. Beat Roll Tide with a bunch of nobodies, Raj. No number one receiver.
Listen, but you have a chance to get the
walk-on quarterback. Was bagging your groceries
coordinator. The AFC Championship 5 freaking times and won 2 Super Bowls. And you completely botch it because you don't want to pay your goddamn quarterback.
Coach Nick Saban's defense. St. Nick.
I have an issue with that. Now, I'm praying that Todd Monken is the guy.
Odell had a thousand.
Me and you, I think your god sister Brittany had it out on Facebook over this nonsense. She's talking about I'm being negative. I should open up. I'm like, I'm going to open up if he's good, but I also want to keep Lamar Jackson as well. If this is a move that gives Lamar Jackson off of this team, I'm gonna be very pissed off. But like I said before, I wish the brother the best. I hope he's everything that that he says he is. He's taken all these teams' offenses, and they've been, I think, at least top 10 or top 5 or whatever. Even with Jameis throwing 30 interceptions one year and having 30 touchdowns, and the Cleveland year when he had Odell and Landry, they both had 1,000 yards, and Baker was okay. I mean, I hope he's a good offensive coordinator for real. I don't wish him nothing wrong, not the worst. I wish him the best, but we shall see, man. We shall see. But it just bugs me though that we could have had Eric Bieniniemy. We just sat there for a whole month, and we just let him just slip away and go to the other part of Maryland.
The other part of Maryland. Crevonte. Man, I hope we go back to DC, man.
Oh, that's right. Crevonte, you're an Ohio State fan, right?
Yes, sir.
You were watching that game New Year's Eve. Wasn't Georgia offense looking pretty good against the Ohio State? Right, last time I checked.
You know what? Their offense looked better than it did in the playoffs than it did during the regular season.
Yeah.
But so my thing is with Todd Monken, because Todd Monken was in the mix. I told you about him, when we did out again, for those of y'all that did the Commander's checklist, I threw Todd Monken's name in there. But for the Commanders, of course. But I think, and I was talking to Rouse, Byron. I was talking to Rouse a couple days ago. Wow. He asked me how I feel about EB. So naturally, I asked him how he feel about Tom Monken.
He hates it. He hates it like Raj.
He hates it just like Raj. But I was saying that I agree because he's a heavy on his tight ends. He's heavy on his running backs. So he looks like Greg Roman 2.0. And I don't want that for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But again, we will see. We will see. He has some He has something to come. He has something that he's going to bring with him, and we'll see what happens.
Well, let us know what you think about the Todd Monken situation. We will be watching closely as starting today,
Tomorrow.
as it's
Well,
now
today.
February 21st, teams
Yeah.
can issue the franchise tag. Players have until March to sign it, but they do have until July to get long-term deals. Crevonte, you ready to get goofy so we can get out of here?
Yeah, man. My apologies, Byron. I should have sent it to you before the show, but about my goofies of the week. But let me do my intro, of course. Welcome to Goofies of the Week, sponsored by the Flex Zone. Appreciate you guys for always giving me a little bit of time to let me tell y'all what I thought was goofy this week. And this one I actually found not that long ago. But I have two levels of goofiness. I have the low level of green, kind of laugh about it, hee hee ha ha, kiki, and in the hopes that it does not turn into anything big. But when it does, it's usually egregious. We got to congregate and we got to figure out how we got here and how to not return. Whether we need to use GPS or MapQuest. I don't know what we need to do.
Oh, something wrong here.
Look who's come. I'm so glad Goofy came on time this week. And of course, the high level Goofy. That's my red card. Cardinal red. Cardinal sin red. So Byron, it's Daniel Jones. It is Daniel Jones. This is Daniel Jones camp. He's my lone Goofy of the week this week because and it's the absurd number I've seen. And I've you could just type in Daniel Jones and it'll come up. So it says according to Mike Florio of PFT, Giants quarterback Daniel Jones is seeking as much as $45 million of them things per year or more. Okay? Or more in his next contract. Daniel Jones, before Brian Daboll came, he was on his way out the door. They won't talk about picking up no fifth year anything. And now Brian Daboll came in, and Daniel Jones looked like a competent quarterback after one season, and now all of a sudden he worth 45 M's. This is crazy. I swear, folks, he better not get paid before Lamar. He better not get paid before Lamar Jackson. $45 goddamn million. Daniel Jones? Is that? Oh, hold up. Am I back? Hey, I'm back. Daniel Jones, guys. This is the guy who looked like hot garbage the first 3 years of his career. Oh boy. Oh boy. 45. You know how much Patrick Mahomes is making per year? Anybody? About 45. about 45. Now you obviously his matter of fact, I think his contract just kicked in this year. The extension part of it. I think it just kicked in this year. So he's 45, making about $45 million annually. Now obviously Patrick Mahomes probably has some incentives in his, so it'll be a little bit more, but $45 million, and Daniel Jones is looking to be in the ballpark of said $45 million a year. For those of y'all, do y'all happen to know how many? And I'm trying to pull it up. Do y'all happen to know how many touchdowns Daniel Jones had?
I don't want to insult the guy, but I'm gonna say
20, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say 20.
Nope.
Are we taking the over the under?
We taking the under. Keep going down, baby.
12.
He didn't make the top 20 in quarterback passing touchdown. Just throwing that out there.
I'm
He
gonna
had
say
15.
12.
About 15.
15. Okay,
15.
close.
15. $45 million. The math ain't math for y'all. That's all I'm saying. I ain't the best at math. I ain't no accountant or nothing. But if his agent pulls this off, the agent needs to double his percentage. That's what needs to happen. Daniel Jones, $45 million. I'm looking to confirm. He had a total of yes, game stats, and I'm gonna jump right to the bottom. Hopefully, y'all can see that. See what that 15 is. 3,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, and that's five. That's five picks. Yep, 5 picks. 15 touchdowns, guys. That's not even a touchdown a game. Okay, there's 17 games in the regular season. If you took one off, that's only 15. You had 15. And a regular, before we added these games, it was 16 games. You still not averaging a touchdown a game. How dare you demand $45 million a year? Let me tell you something, New York. I'm not big on going crazy on paying these running backs. But Saquon Barkley did that for y'all. Saquon Barkley was so good, he made the quarterback look decent. Now, granted, Giants really ain't had no regulars, which is probably why he had 15. But what I'm trying to figure out, what bargaining chips do you have to be like, yeah, y'all, 45. You know what I would say? Get the hell out of my office.
He did take them to the playoffs. So
Hey, just think about it this way. Lamar had 17, and he missed, I think, about the last 5 or 6 games.
6 games. Yeah. He missed like 6. He missed like 6 games. He missed like a month and a half. And he had 7. And Lamar had 17.
Shaking my hand. I'm
just saying, brother. I'm all for guys getting their money, but goddamn, make it make sense. $45 million. We just had a good brother on talking about finances and how things work and what these owners have to do to put this money to the side and guarantee these players. Let me tell you something. And New York got money.
Oh yeah.
Listen, let me tell you something. Don't put that money aside. Escrow need to break. Can y'all break escrow? Escrow need to not be in operation, because how dare y'all put that type of money aside for Daniel Jones? But listen, guys, on the fan side of the game, taking off the finance and the goofy hat, I hope they do it. As a Commanders fan, I hope they do it. Top all that money in this bum. Top all that money. But it'll be very goofy if you do it. But hey, as a Commanders fan, I hope they do it. But that's my long goofy of the week, Daniel Jones. Y'all know my line. There's a thin line between goofy and great, and Daniel Jones is on the wrong end of it.
Gosh, something wrong here.
Goofy's out of here.
Thank you for that, Crevonte. That goofy of the week. Shout out to my mom. She was in the chat. I see you, Mom.
Oh, yes.
The love
Thank
and
you
support.
for tuning in.
Hey. What's up?
That is
all. It's cool when our parents like kind of stop through from time to time, even though we mad late. Like, y'all up?
Drizzy Dre. What can the people expect next week? Episode 382, Sports and Blackness. Who's next on the list?
Hey, 382. We about to conclude with Uncle Rob Parker, and also my Flex Zone brethren will be joining me on WEAA this Friday, as we will be having basically a Flex Zone takeover. So make sure y'all check us out. We will be live streaming that as well. So more great stuff here on the Flex Zone as we continue to grow and build.
Yeah, hit the bell. We'll be live. We'll stream it. Be live on WEA as well. We'll be talking Lamar. We'll have a whole rundown. We'll be talking a lot. We'll probably talk about this Derek Carr situation to the Jets, possibly. Aaron Rodgers, the Orioles. We got the baseball season coming up. College basketball. A lot to talk about. So we'll see as well. Executive producer Andre Melton, senior producer Crevonte Hurd, the Commanderlorian. Dre, how can they start their day with a cup of Dre as well in the morning?
Hey, you can catch me on WEAA 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Good Morning Baltimore, Monday through Friday, and of course Monday nights here on the Flex Zone podcast every Monday at 10 p.m. And another shout out to our guest today, Uncle Joe Lorick.
Big shout out to Joe. Follow him. Put his info up one more time for the good people. Big Raj, social media wise, how can people keep up with us, and what do they need to do if they're watching?
You need to check out the Flex Zone Podcast YouTube channel. I mean, we got pretty much everything on there. Plenty of videos, plenty of goofiness as well. AEW Dynamite is coming up this Wednesday. The show with Dre Byron is coming up on Friday. I ain't got nothing going on this weekend. That's crazy. No WWE or anything.
Yeah, it's starting to get.
Ain't no movies.
Gotta get creative.
Movies till next weekend. So
yeah, AEW will be back next weekend as well. So that's a good thing. Yeah, man, just check out the channel, man. We got plenty of stuff on there, plenty of content, plenty of things to talk about. I'm pretty sure franchise tags will be handed out. We're going to have people in underwear running very, very soon, if you get what I mean. We'll have those. We're going to have those draft specials coming up as well. You know, the players to look out for. So just stay tuned. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, big shout out to everybody this past weekend that was with us for the Elimination Chamber live stream. But almost 2,000 views if we haven't hit it yet. So that was a big time show. Shout out to support all the new subscribers. We'll be back next week, episode 382. Todd Monken supposed to speak tomorrow for the Ravens, so may have a reaction to that if I get around to it. Some Orioles videos and things coming soon as well. AEW. Only place, fellas, give you sports how you want it.
When you need it.
Again, shout out to Joe Lorick, our guest. Much love to him. Catch him on Welcome.
Man, that was really good, man. That was really good.
Etiquette.
Yes, it was.
For Dre, for Crevonte, for Raj. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Flex Zone family, for the support and love. God's favorite host signing out. We'll see you next week for episode 382, and before then for all the live streams and videos on the channel. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.
We the ones.